What's wrong?
Now, last time you were here, we only scratched the surface. I have a feeling there's a lot more to find out about you.
Well, I'm glad to be exposed.
Tell me about the outfit before you... Did you design that?
No, I didn't, but there's a lady in California who used to be a clothes designer, and now she's retired, and she weaves this fabric. She's converted her...
weaved it?
Yeah, it's hand woven. And she has a big one of those old-fashioned looms in her house, and she, where you sit down and you crank it up and you throw the shuttle from side to side. And she weaved,
Pretty.
wove this fabric.
Wove the fabric. Yeah.
I'm going to wear another one of her
would be
things
correct,
this
too,
week,
wouldn't it? They're on it now. Look, they're doing a close-up of your fabric.
Ah.
How about that? A fabric close-up early on Monday.
An FCU.
Yes.
Yes.
You were a jazz singer, somebody told me.
Yeah, I love jazz. I really do. That was the first music I was really exposed to. I was exposed to classical music first. My father and mother really were big fans of classical music. But then when I first started singing, that was the music that I sang.
You know, most people who start as jazz singers...
Finish as jazz singers.
That's right.
Immediately
they
afterwards.
They never, shall we say, digress. They never go to anything else. They stay with it. Why did you make the change? Because you wanted to eat?
That and...
Seriously?
Because I think I was young enough to not be too set in what I was doing, and to be open to change. I hadn't been singing, let's just say I didn't make a lot of money at it. And so I hadn't been singing in a real long time. And then rock and roll came along and folk music. I was exposed to that. And actually I hadn't been exposed to any other kind of music except popular songs, which at that time was things like Green Dolphin Street and things. It was a little journey into the past for me. And also I didn't need cards for it.
What was your childhood like, Cass?
We moved around a lot. I was born in Baltimore and raised in Washington and Alexandria, Virginia. And we did quite a bit of moving around, but it was groovy. My mother and father sang, and the whole family sang. We used to gather on the piano and sing. And it was good.
Why did you move so often?
My father was in a kind of a mobile restaurant business that during the development, when they were building the Cherry Hill Shopping Center, which is not too far from here, and the Smithsonian Institute, he used to put these little mobile diners on the construction jobs to feed the construction men.
That's a good business, isn't it?
It was very good at the time. Yeah.
Did your mother work with you?
We all did.
All of you?
Mm-hmm. Except my baby brother, who was too young.
We moved a lot when we were kids, but it was because we always owed the rent somewhere, It was a different reason.
I don't know if you noticed this, but when I went to buy my house, I have a house, and we could never afford a house. We always lived in apartments or rented houses. And it was like, I didn't know that you had to look for whether you had a cesspool or whether you had city plumbing or anything. I didn't know what to look for. I mean, I really got stung. And as a result, I have a lovely house. But we couldn't afford it that I should have known about that I didn't know about.
Well, a lot of things in California. You bought the house in California.
Yes, because I lived there.
That's the only...
Yes. It'd be...
Well, that does make it convenient,
it's closer.
If you don't want to commute, But the thing about California, I notice, and it's not true here in Pennsylvania. Now, I don't know about other states. Don't write me. But before you can buy a house, the previous owner, must supply you with a termite inspection, saying that everything is all right. The termites haven't eaten the place.
Really?
Apart. Yes. And that
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that.
But that's all right. There's so much water coming out of the cesspool, it'll drown. It'll drown the termites right out. I don't have to worry about it.
Did you buy in Beverly Hills where everybody in the business buys?
No, I didn't. I bought in Los Angeles. I looked at about 60 houses, actually, before I bought my house. And it's tough, to find a house that you can afford that's for your needs, Like, I couldn't afford $80,000. For $80,000, you can practically build anything you want. But so my house is considerably cheaper than that, and it is California, and there's no flat land. There's hardly any land there. Everything is built up the side of the hill.
You didn't buy on the edge of one of those mountains.
No. They're not safe.
Because I might see you scooting by sometime when
I'll wave as we go by.
How about all the new schools? Did you get into any of those problems changing schools?
I did.
Folks were moving
I lost a half a credit through all the changing and everything. And so when I had done my senior year and completed it, and then I dropped out because I had to go to school a half a year and take all kinds of strange courses, like office dynamics and business machines 305, And so I didn't go, and I dropped out and went into show business instead.
Dropped out of high school?
Yeah, but I had all my credits, so when I decided to go to college later, I could go.
Oh, I see.
They just want you to put in time, I think.
Somebody said that you talked at 6 months and read. Now, this is true, at age 2, is that correct?
Yes, that's true.
You were precocious, weren't you?
Nasty, too.
Yes.
I was very nasty. Yeah, I was.
Read at 2? Who taught you?
My mother. My mother taught me.
Did she use the card method with the words on them?
I don't remember too much about it, but she was a remedial reading teacher. She was a school teacher. Mm-hmm. And I guess she just taught me to read to keep me out of the way, I guess. I don't really know why, but I was reading when I was 2.
Did that make you an avid reader? Are you an avid
yeah.
reader? That's great.
I'm not a super fast reader. I'm not one of those people that can read real fast, but I retain, a lot.
Well, I would rather read a little slower and retain what I read than be a speed reader.
Those methods frighten me.
Yeah.
Read 500,000 words in 2 seconds,
I think it was John Kennedy used to read over 2,000 words a minute, and when you see an actual speed, when you see them demonstrate that, I mean, it's just the page goes like this, boom. It's unbelievable
it's like
how
being
fast.
kind of like a little computer, I guess.
Yeah, and he retained it.
But people who have a lot to read, you have to keep up with current events and things every day. That I guess it's very handy. I don't.
Can you read more than one book at a time? I'm curious.
Yes, I do read more than one book
My
at a time.
wife does that, and I don't know how she does it. There's 4 of them started at the same time.
I have 3 going.
Picks one up here in this room, and another one in that room, one in the kitchen.
Yeah.
How do you remember what you're reading?
The secret is not to read anything with any mathematics in it. And if it's not really complicated, you can remember. Because each book has its own story, and you remember as soon as you pick it up.
Did you have a nickname as a child?
Yeah.
What was it?
Cookie.
Cookie? Any particular kind of cookie? Or just a plain old cookie?
Just a regular old round sugar cookie.
Is Cash your real name?
Cassandra.
Cassandra. That's
How
a nice
about it?
name. That's nice.
Classy, huh?
And Elliot is your real name?
More or less.
Which one, more or less?
Pick one.
Okay. Did your parents have a future all planned for you?
Well, let's just say when I
parents
was...
sometimes do things like that,
My father had 5 brothers, and they were all doctors, and I'm the oldest in the family, and they sort of... And I was very interested in nursing, and being a doctor when I was younger. And then I wanted to be a lawyer. I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I never got around to it. There are times when I actually entertain the idea of going back to school, but it would take years. But I think law is a very fascinating thing.
Oh, yes. It changes so, though.
Did you ever
constantly.
want to... What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a garbage man.
And you made it!
No. We go on that. We'll be right back.